Hi everyone, and welcome to my first tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to make these little beaded dragonfly earrings. Now I chose dragonfly earrings for two reasons really. The first reason is that it's National Beading Week, 29th of July to 4th of August, and I decided to do a tutorial for my ladies. I should explain that I run a beading group in Cheltenham, and I thought it would be nice for them for National Beading Week to be able to bead along with me at their own pace. So you may ask why I chose dragonflies. Well, a couple of months ago my ladies all made dragonflies, ones that were rather larger than these ones, with beads and wire, and I uploaded their makes, their pictures of their makes to the group page and then shared it on my personal profile. And one of my friends said, "Oh, dragonflies, I'd love a pair of dragonfly earrings." So always been one to rise to a challenge. I then went into my bead stash, looked what beads I had and put these little guys together. So I thought it might be nice to share with you. So let's get along and see what tools we need for this project. So first of all, we need some basic tools, and the most basic of all is the beading mat that this is sat on. So you're going to need a beading mat. You're also going to need, if we do some, there are findings that we need to deal with. Now, I may or may not use the jump rings, but if we use jump rings, you're going to need some snipe nose pliers and probably 2 pairs of those so that you can open and close the jump rings. If we don't use the jump rings, and the reason why I haven't on this one, as you can see, I don't know if you can see there, I've used a little S wire connector which I made, and I made from head pins because I thought that maybe not all of you will have 0.6 wire, but you probably all have some head pins. So I used the head pins to make the S connectors. Now the reason why I had to was because I'm using 15 OC beads here, and the aperture is really quite small in the bail to connect it to the ear wire. So if we need to do that, you're going to need some round nose pliers, and you're also going to need some wire cutters. All right, so that's for the findings. For the thread, you're going to need some thread snips, and you're also going to need some thread. Now today I'm using Nymo. Comes in lots and lots of colours. Really good for a project like this because they're lightweight, there's no high tension work in there. If you are doing a project with high tension work, I probably suggest that you use a 6-pound fire line, but for this project Nymo is good. However, there is one thing that you must always remember to do with your Nymo, and that is to condition it. Now you can use a beeswax or a synthetic beeswax that perhaps you've bought from your beading shop, or the one that I prefer to use is this little guy in a cute beaded box, because I tend to bead everything, is Thread Heaven. Now the advantage of Thread Heaven is it doesn't leave that waxy residue on your thread, and after you've run your thread through a couple of 3 times, you run it through your fingers and it puts a static charge on the actual thread. So your working thread and the thread that's spare at the top, if I just show you here, stay separate or help to stay separate. They kind of repel one another. They don't want to cross over, and when they cross over and tangle, that's when you tend to get knots. So that's the advantage of Thread Heaven, and I must say I prefer to use this every time. So I think that's all the tools we need, apart from your needle and thread, the needle of course, and today I'm using a size 12 needle because I'm using 15 OC beads. I want a smaller needle to get through because we're going to go through that a couple of times, and I don't want the perhaps them to break. So let's get on with the project. Hi everyone, well I'm back and I just want to go through on this stage the beads that we're going to be using. So the first lot of beads, you will need 8 dagger beads. Now you can get these in a myriad of colours. I just happen to have gold ones, and I think they're quite a popular bead at the moment. You can get them online from lots and lots of bead suppliers. So we're going to use those for his wings. Now for his head, we're going to use Swarovski. Well, these are 4mm bicones and they're Swarovski. And as you can see there, they've got an AB finish on them, which picks up the light and reflects it right back, which makes them lovely, quite beautiful and shiny. For his thorax, we need 8 OC beads, and we're just going to use 2 of those for each thorax. And for the rest of his body, we're going to use 11 OC beads. And you need about 12 of those, but I've got more here because I just put a pile of them out. And as you can see, I've chosen colours that complement each other. And I'm quite dragonfly-y because, I mean, they are rather beautiful insects, aren't they? And last but not least, we're going to use some tiny gold 15 OC beads. And they're the ones that I've used here on the wings, and I've made the bail to hang the earrings with the 15 OC beads. So without further ado, let's get on and make. Okay, we're ready to start beading now. As you can see here, I've laid the beads out in the order that you're going to need them. So we're going to start with 2 8-0s, a 15-0, 2 dagger beads, a 15-0, a 15-0, 2 dagger beads, a 15-0, a 4mm bicone, a 15-0, 6 11-0s and 7 15-0s. I've threaded the needle and conditioned it like I spoke about before, and I've placed a stopper bead about 6 inches from the end. Now, one word of warning, always use a stopper bead that's nothing like the project you're sewing, because believe me, it's quite easy to sew it into your project. So if it's completely different colour, different type of bead, it's kind of like you know, it's a warning to say, whoops, you're not part of the project, let's not sew into you. So that's where we go from here. So let's start sewing, and I'm going to pick up the 2 8-0s, oops, and then a 15-0, a dagger bead, the second dagger bead, and a 15-0, and let them drop down to where the stopper bead is, and you can see there I've got them. Now keep hold of the 2 8-0s and let the other beads drop away, then take your needle and go back up through the 2 8-0s like that and pull tight. So you can see there we've got the basic wing on one side forming. Now, just to make this a little bit sturdier, I'm going to go through these beads a couple of more times, whoops, through the 15-0, through the dagger beads and through that 15-0, pull the thread, back up the 2 8-0s. So that's twice you've gone through. I'm going to do it one more time, through the 15-0, through the dagger bead, through the dagger bead and through the 15-0, and back up the 2 8/0s like this. And there we go. And when you pull tight, you can see that you've got the wing shape there. Now turn your work around and pick up the 15/0, a dagger bead, a second dagger bead and another 15/0, and go through the two 8/0 seed beads. When you pull tight, you can see that you've got the basic shape. Now I'm going to go through again, just as I did before, 3 times, so that I've gone through 3 times in total. So come back to me when you've caught up with that. Okay, so we've now gone through both sides 3 times and you've ended up with the wings in a shape like that. I went back up through the 2 8/0s and I'm exiting out of the top of the 2 8/0s. We're now going to pick up the 4mm bicone and a 15/0. Drop them down like so and ignore the 15/0 and go back down the bicone and back down the 2 8/0 beads and pull. You can see that 15/0 there has become a little stopper bead and has attached the head to the thorax. Alright, so now we're going to pick up the 6 11/0s, 4, 5, 6, drop them down, okay, so just as we did before, the last one that you've put on, you're going to let that drop away and you're going to go back up through the other 5, back up the 2 8/0s and into that 4mm bicone. And when you pull, that last 11/0 is going to create a stop just like this 15/0 did at the top. And then we're going to go through that 15/0 bead there. Alright, so far we've sewn on the wings, the thorax, the head, the body. So the only thing we have to do now is the bail. Now to do the bail, I'm going to pick up 7 15/0 seed beads. Okay, put them onto your thread. Now what you need to do is look at which direction your thread is coming out of. So my thread's coming out that way, so we want to chase that thread back in to the 15/0 seed bead. When we pull, we get a little circle of sorts. I'm just going to turn it over just to enable me to go through. I want to go through all of these 15/0 seed beads again. So it might be easier to do it in 3s. So I've gone through 6, and this one that stopped the head, this one that I've just come through here, is known as the anchor bead. So I've gone back into the anchor bead and pulled tight, and that way you've formed a circle and you've gone twice round. Now I'm going to go into the bead next to that anchor bead, like so, because what I want to do is I want to make a bail that's like a little diamond shape. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to miss the next bead and I'm going to go into the one after, as if any of you have done peyote, but I'm not putting a bead on my thread, I'm just going into the next one. And then what I'm going to do, you can see the thread there, sort of pull it back, keep hold of it, pull that bead that you haven't got into, put your thumb over it and pull tight. And when you pull it out, you can see that you have basically stitched this one and this one together and left that one out. So we're going to do the same again. I'll turn it round so you can see. Miss that bead and go into the next one, like so. There it is, sat on top. So you can just pull it back a little bit, pull this bead out of the way, put your thumb on top and give it a good pull. And you might hear it just click a little bit. Can you see now that I've got two of them? So I'm going to work around and I'm going to do it again, miss the next bead and go into that one. Oops, yeah, I've gone into that one. And you can see that it's sat over, so I just move it back, move this bead out of the way, put your thumb over the top and pull on the thread, and there you can see now that we basically have a little square diamond shape, which makes it just a little bit more professional. And I like doing that kind of shape. Whoops, I was just trying to do the last one here at the bottom. She says it's quite tricky. There we are, we're in there. Go into that last one, careful not to get the thread, and with this one you just need to sort of pull it, and there you have it. Now what you want to do now is work around, just go through the beads, and we'll go back to this one and we'll go back down to the thorax, and then we'll finish the thread off. So what I'll do is come back to me, I'll go around there and I'll go back down and then I'll come back to you. Okay, so we're back again. I've gone round that square and gone down the bicone and down the two 8mm beads, and as you can see both my threads are exiting out of the same area. I'm going to take off that stopper bead, just pull it off, and I'm just going to tie a knot. Now be very careful that you go into between the beads. I'm going to tie another knot. Like so, and that's fine, just two's fine. And then I'm going to take the thread down these 11/0 seed beads, and just exit somewhere like so. When I pull, I'm just going to take my snips and snip off that. Okay, so now with the second thread I exited just like I did before and snipped the thread. So there we have a completed dragonfly. Now I said maybe we were going to use jump rings and maybe we weren't, so I've got a jump ring open here. I've opened one of the jump rings and I'm just going to see if it goes through the aperture, and by the look of it, it is going to. So we can actually just attach the ear wire and close that jump ring. Oh, more fingers and thumbs. There we go. That was none too smooth, but it's closed and it's attached, and there we have your little dragonfly earring. Now for those of you that maybe want to do the S, here's one I made, but I'll just show you in case you don't have a jump ring that actually fits. So with your round nose pliers, just the very end, and what you want is you need to feel it here, and if you feel it scratching, you've got it too far in. So just do that so you can't feel it, and then just work the wire around to create that little loop. Alright, and then all you do is you put the end of the pliers in the other way, pull this around. Now it's a little bit harder with, and there we go, so you've got like a little bow. Take your wire cutters and sit them on that wire there, so when you snip off the little S wire hook that you've just made, connector, and then take your chain nose pliers, flatten it down in the jaws, just flatten it, this might take a little manipulating because it's quite hard actually. They've been well hardened because they're head pins, and there you have, obviously you just need to, there we go, there you have another, and you just open those like you would a jump ring, pop them through, pop on your ear wire, and there you go, you're good to go. So all you need to do now is do another one exactly the same, repeat the process, and if you do make them, I'd love you to comment or to upload photos to our Barclay Beaders Cheltenham group. If you're interested and you'd like to join the group, just request to join, and it's been nice. So thanks for listening and thanks for watching. See you again soon. Bye.